vodka. So, I'm curious to you basically. We're not necessarily getting started here, but I want our first subject to just kind of get Solo out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
And as we've already posted our own individual opinions on the matters.
Yeah, I think I was a little too short on mine, to be honest. But
short as in angry, or short as in just time?
No, just I think I rushed my review. It was supposed to be spoiler free anyway, so I mean.
Well, and plus it was your emotional reaction at the time. It doesn't. Some of my opinions have changed a little overnight, kind of thing, but I still don't feel it's getting a fair shake. I think it's actually. At last I checked, it was still not making as much as it costs.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I'm curious as to why, because I mean I actually, to be honest, this is the one film I didn't dig into a lot of the people that I follow who review movies and stuff.
Oh, right.
You know, so I haven't seen why they thought it was. If they thought it was negative or not.
Yeah, I avoided it too until I saw it.
So I really haven't delved into that, but yeah, no, like I said, I'm sure Jay saw it too, and his initial reaction was he liked it.
Yeah, mine was. My reaction was pretty much like yours, almost verbatim.
You know, it's. I truly enjoyed it, and I think that's one of those movies that I could watch over again. But I've read the Solo books.
Oh yeah, I've read them all too.
So to me, they were, though it wasn't scene by scene by scene, and
there were some aspects.
They kept the aspects.
Mm-hmm.
You can't fault them.
I mentioned it during my brief review, was that the concept of the 12 parsecs thing, which we've known for years as is a distance measure, it's not a time measure. So what do you mean in less than 12 parsecs? And at the time, I'm sure when it was written, it was kind of like 0.21 gigawatts or gigawatts, because Lloyd pronounced gigawatts wrong. Yeah, I think it was something like that, and then now later they go, okay, that makes sense that it's a distance. But remember, in the books, the Jedi Academy trilogy, they pretty much did the same thing in Solo. It was except Solo threw in that it was just the black hole and then a big tentacle monster, whereas in the books it was the Maw cluster.
The Maw cluster, yeah.
And so a series of black holes that were hiding actually turns out an Imperial fleet. But it's pretty much a similar thing. You made it by skimming the black hole. That's how you got there in less than 12 parsecs, because it takes more than that if you go around the black hole.
Right.
So that part was lifted directly from the Academy books.
And then from the Solo books, the similarities that I saw, and I don't know if we want to wait till Jay gets here or not. But
no, I'll splice this around and come back to it.
But some of the similarities I saw, in the Solo books, he was an orphan. Yes, his family worked in Corellia, on the shipyards, but he was an orphan. But where he was orphaned at was up on the space station versus
in the books.
The books, and then I love how when he with Chewie. He frees Chewie.
The books, we're talking about the Legends books.
Legends books. Yeah. Where he frees Chewie. He originally freed Chewie from the Kessel Mines. Here he frees Chewie on some planet during his Imperial Navy service, which we will get into. That if I had one fault, that's the one fault that I would say that they missed the mark on.
There's one I'd say too, but I'll wait till...
But he frees Chewie, and when Chewie asks, well, where do you learn to speak Wookiee? Wookiee.
Kashyyyk, yeah. Or
Kashyyyk.
What they call it?
Kashyyikis or Wookiees.
Something like that. Yeah. No, I know they're from Kashyyyk. They are Wookiees, but what's the name of the language? I forget the name of the language. But anyway.
And he says, I can speak a little bit.
Shriwook.
Shriwook, yeah. Shriwook. Whereas in the books, when he was an orphan up in the space station, he was raised by one-armed Wookiee.
Wookiee, yeah. Female.
So, there were some similarities. I think the character that he meets, the Woody Harrelson character, I think is playing in vein of the person who actually raised him as the gangster leader.
Yeah, it's been many years since I read.
I think there's some similarities there.
Yeah,
but they actually made the Woody Harrelson character a bit more good guyish, roguish but still good.
Roguish but still good.
Yeah.
That's
so
great. I like that.
A rogue with a heart.
Yeah,
which in a way you could see. I like how they were trying to gear towards, everyone who has a parental figure or a father figure or a role model. this guy was probably Han Solo's role model in a way, because he kind of left that mark of, if you're gonna do what you're gonna do it with
Shoot first.
yeah, shoot first, but also do it with integrity,
Yeah.
and style.
Yeah.
So I like that part. The whole Kira, Emilia Clarke character.
She'll no matter what she plays, even Star Wars, she'll be the mother of dragons forever. It's just the way the way it is.
But see, once again, there was in the Solo Legend series, there was a female figure that he tried to go after, and had a connection with, a relationship with, throughout the series, and I think they were trying to pay homage to that. I could be off base on that. She came from a rich family, but that's a little bit different. Here in the movie, she was from the streets along with him. In the book, she came from a rich family and decided she wanted to go on some religious cult thing, and then he finds her, but they form a relationship.
Now, because I'll be talking about it later, have you read the 2 books that go along with Solo?
The movie?
Yes.
No, I have not.
Okay. There's the one that takes place before it. It was the most recently released. It's called Star Wars Most Wanted, and it's by Ray Carson, and it's about how, not so much how they met, but how they got together, Han and Kira. They were both orphans. They both lived in a gang called the White Worms. I don't want to give too much away from it because I want you to read it, but it's not bad. It's not the greatest so far. The best ones of the new canon books for me is Phasma. That's my absolute favorite.
Yeah.
But it's at least as good as some of the other ones, some of the new books. But they kind of make a trilogy, kind of make a loose trilogy, whereas one book takes place directly before Solo, and then the other one takes place a few years after Jedi, when Ben's a kid.
Okay.
So it's called Star Wars Last Shot by Daniel Older, and that's basically Han and Lando, now adult, obviously older, and Ben's a little toddler, like 2 maybe, something like that. And so they run off on an adventure, and there's one singular thread, without getting into too much of the plot, of those 3 stories, including Solo, is the droid revolution stuff.
Ah, okay.
Because the MacGuffin in the first book, chronologically the first book, where there's kids, him and Kira, lends into Solo, which then lends into One Shot, 10 years after that? Something like 10, 15 years after that. So, and this one line of droid rights is constantly talked about in all of these 3 parts of the story.
Okay.
And so, because it kind of culminates in Last Shot. So it's weird, because Last Shot was released before Solo, and the Most Wanted one, or whatever, Most Wanted was released the day Solo came out. So you never got this chronologically. You got Shot first if you read the one that came out, which I did.
Right.
I recommend both of them, and I think you'll like the connection they have to Solo. I think it makes it a better story.
What I liked, one of the reasons why I really liked this movie was it was not just strictly an action movie. There was actually what I felt like was some character development in this one. I felt like there was a good story dialogue to it.
Yeah.
Throughout the movie, I enjoyed the humor. I don't think it was all overdone.
Okay.
What can you say about Glover? I mean, I think he played the perfect young.
He nailed it.
Yeah.
Of course, that kid nails everything.
Liked the though too short, as you said. What was her name? The robot.
L3.
L3. Love that character. That was in the vein of K2. It was just a droid with an attitude.
Yep.
And then I'm trying to think what else that I really hit with me. Obviously the quote unquote end scene with who makes a special guest appearance.
Right at the end.
I think
spoilers. We might as well just go into it.
And with Darth Maul being part of the Crimson Dawn, which, in my eyes, they're replacing the Black Sun with the Crimson Dawn, unless Black Sun eventually comes out.
Black Sun is canon because they've said Clone Wars is canon. The Black Sun is in Clone Wars.
Okay, so you have Crimson Dawn and Black Sun.
The aliens are whatever they are.
Right. But Crimson Dawn, and then you've got Darth Maul
Mm-hmm.
being a part of that. I think that will tie into a lot of other stuff coming to play.
Yeah.
It makes me curious to see how the Obi-Wan movie coming out, what they're going to focus on. Seeing how they've already done the Rebels with that meeting. Yeah. So.
Hello. What are you grinning about? You grinning like a cat that caught the canary.
What do we have here?
That is something I picked up the other day. I was at my buddy Monty was having a sale, and I went out there to drop off some old comics and take some pictures. And he had those on the cheap. They're Marvel, basically concept art, the art of the Marvel Universe, MCU. I like concept art stuff, and those were really good. And Amber, for Father's Day early, got me a Dark Crystal one. Next time we go up, I'll grab it.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
Because it's a combination of concept art and stories about how they produced the movie. And I was sitting there watching that thinking, because they did some test shots in the forest, like a real location with some of the nearly completed puppets, although the designs changed a little bit after that. But they were physical things in a space, like they literally existed there. And I still think that I want to see more Muppet stuff like that, because I'm tired of CGI. It just doesn't look real enough yet. Now, what are you two drinking there?
That is good stuff right there.
I've never had this.
Basil Hayden? That's good whiskey.
What is it again?
Basil Hayden.
Basil Hayden.
Is that German?
I don't know, but
Why
it's
not?
good whiskey.
No, it's Kentucky.
Kentucky.
I need to have one
Yeah.
So Jason will be staying here tonight.
Yeah, maybe.
of that. No, I gotta go home.
You say that every time, but yeah. Who's gonna drive you home this time?
I gotta go home.
Yeah, because the wife had to drive you home last time.
Snort. That's all I'm taking. No, my ass would be great.
That's the same size I
No.
He's measuring.
That's 3 fingers.
That's 3 fingers.
Yeah. I'll give him that. So anyway, here we are. We're getting started. What day is today anyway? Today is June 8th.
It is. What
Yes,
has been
it's
going
8th of
on?
June.
This is the Rum Rants podcast. This is our one. We kind of had a little bit of a break. We've been out for 5 weeks, 6 weeks?
Yeah, something like that. So last time we got together was Avengers.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
Avengers.
So since then, 2 big movies have opened. But let's go ahead and get started here. This is Rob, Rum Rants podcast. Jay over to my right. What are you drinking, Jay?
What's it called?
Basil Hayden.
Basil Hayden.
Yeah.
Whiskey?
Kentucky whiskey.
Yeah.
Take a sniff of it here.
That's a
Here,
fine
just
whiskey
try-
there.
Well, no, I just want.
Real smooth.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it is. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I'm used to
That's a little like
Jim
that's a
Beam
little like
shit.
Angel's Envy. That could be dangerous.
Yeah, that is not rock gut.
I'll
right
have
there.
some next time.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Oh, Jeff's here.
Oh, is Jeff here?
Oh, finally.
That's good. We just got started anyway.
Or maybe that was Amber going up the
Oh.
stairs.
He's supposed to be on his way eventually.
Yeah.
So anyway, Earl and I just kind of started talking about Solo. I figured to get that out of the way first.
So good.
Over this last week, Solo came out to not exactly rave reviews.
No.
Apparently, it's not making the money Disney wanted it to make. Although, from last I knew, it still hadn't made back its budget yet
Right.
because it cost over 200 and it's only made
But
80
not even 100. It hasn't even broken
worldwide.
100 worldwide yet.
Yeah, and even worse overseas because, unbeknownst to me, Star Wars really isn't a big deal outside of this country. It's
Yeah, well, they're wrong. But
yeah, of course they're wrong. They like the Marvel stuff. That's where all the money from the Marvel stuff
Yeah.
it opens in China and whatnot. And they just spend tons of money going there. We got. Hi, babe. Oh yes, thank you. This is that book I was telling you about. Let's see, it's The Dark Crystal: The Ultimate Visual History. Amber got me this for Father's Day, and it is one of the neatest concept art books I've seen. Some of these pictures I've seen in the past and over the years where they have the special.
Does it have the girl elf naked in it? Because for some reason it was like a weird thing for me.
What's the girl elf?
Yeah.
What about her?
Is she naked in that book?
No.
Well, what's the point?
The fuck puppet movie are you watching?
The one where he wanted her to make
Naked. She's oddly hot though.
Yeah,
for a puppet.
that's
I agree.
what I'm saying. There, yeah.
Kira is her
Kira,
name too.
yeah.
Actually, come to think of it, we were just talking about Solo, although obviously it's spelled different. But while he's looking at the Dark Crystal, we can talk about that in a little bit. Jay, Earl and I both posted our spoiler-free opinions, and we were talking a little bit more about what we thought in particular. But why don't we go ahead and start with you? You said you saw it.
Yes, Han shot first.
Okay, we get it. I agree. And it's kind of...
Well, I wanted to start with the first spoilers.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. Han does shoot first.
Han shot first.
In fact, before the guy even finishes the sentence, like, you know, when you really should... Oh my God! Yeah.
That was the smartest thing you've done.
He and DJ from The Last Jedi are the only ones in the whole Star Wars universe that make any sense. When he says
DJ.
"Don't join," it's all a machine.
Oh yeah.
Benicio del Toro, and then the shoot first thing. I'm like, these are the only two things in Star Wars that make any sense whatsoever. The two scoundrels.
That's actually pretty
Isn't it beautiful?
cool.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Okay, Jay. Let's go ahead. We don't need necessarily to rehash the whole thing.
No.
But you've probably read some of the articles saying it's not making enough money. A lot of critical response is bad, although I see a lot of people like us
Actually, no.
defending
I
it.
haven't seen it because I wanted to ask, why is it? First off, let me back up.
Okay.
So, I liked it.
Okay.
I liked it a lot because it was a single storyline that didn't really have anything to do with Star Wars. Unlike Rogue One,
We're directly tied into the next
was
movie.
directly, there was a lot of there was a lot of relationships building like that. This one was purely a story, and that's to me, that's purely entertaining, and we all know that I have to look for movies that are purely entertaining. The casting was spot on.
Yeah.
Lando and
Glover. Yeah. And Emilia Clarke.
yeah,
Kira.
the bad guy, the British guy, I don't know his name. He's in so many
He's
movies.
Vision.
Oh,
He's,
yeah.
Yeah, he's
Bentley.
in,
Bentley?
No.
Paul Bentley?
No, Paul. Yeah, pretty much that
He's
name.
something like
Yeah,
that. I'm
he
screwing
makes-
that up.
in other movies too, but he makes such a great bad guy. Even better than a good guy, I think,
The
because
part that'll bake your noodle is that he was a reshoot. His entire part was a reshoot.
what do you
Was
mean?
he one of
The
the
guy
reasons?
who played the original character, who was partially or totally CGI, couldn't come back for reshoots, so they recast it and changed the entire character. And he came in at the last minute and did the whole thing.
Well, it also goes like British guys always make the best bad guys.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, just somehow the accent is awesome.
Bond movies or well, it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
All the Imperial guys are British.
I liked it. I liked the beginning, like the first chase scene, how he gets away. That's total.
This is the first
Han.
legit car chase in Star Wars.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's been space chases like Boba Fett and Obi-Wan, but no on ground level. The pod race was different.
I was gonna say the pod
race wasn't a car chase.
not the pod race. The bikers in Return of the Jedi.
Same kind of thing. Not really a car chase.
No.
And you can't
Not a
count.
full on behind the wheel.
And you can't count the Attack of the Clones where they're chasing the bounty hunter through
Well, let me caveat.
Coruscant.
They're flying. Yeah, they're in a car, but they're flying.
This was
whereas
low to
this
the
was on the
ground.
ground.
Yeah.
That's the difference I was making.
One is Top Gun, one is Dukes Hazzard. Whatever.
Essentially, that's actually an excellent metaphor. Congrats.
Thank you.
Speaking of Top Gun.
No, yeah, we'll get there.
But it was thoroughly, because it didn't take itself. The characters were right. They were actual real people.
Yes.
You know, what could you do? Woody Harrelson, like selling out. You had to see that coming because that's who he was. He was always out for number one. He was always going to go for the money. He was always going to carry out to the bad guys because, hey, that's where your money's been for, and you owe these guys. He's part of the syndicate. He might be an outside contractor, but still he's part of the syndicate per se. But they didn't tease it so bad to where you still had that feeling that maybe they worked out a plan or something. At least in my mind, it was kind of there in the background, because it also could have been Emilia Clarke's character that actually was in cahoots and stuff. And in the way that he put it, she's a survivor
At all costs.
at all costs.
Yeah.
I think that's what taught Han to be who he became later.
Oh, between
Yeah.
her and Woody, yeah, absolutely.
Well, yeah, especially her, the attitude.
Yeah.
He's a survivor. He always talks his way out of it. He shoots first. It's a defining moment, not just for them, but it's a defining moment in his character every which way. He bails out in the war for Empire, and then he decides to come back and stuff.
Well,
'cause
it's
he's
kind
a
of like what
survivor.
I mentioned earlier, where that figure that they're using for Woody Harrelson's character was the father figure for Han in that regards. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
he taught him that, survive, shoot first.
He was almost like a Yonto character
Yonto.
from Guardians. Mark Rooker, they got killed in the second
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's almost like that kind of
Yondu.
character.
Yeah.
Yondu, yeah.
one. Yondu, I'm sorry,
Yondu,
Yonto. Yondu.
Yonto.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Bad nerd.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a new nerd area. You're
Yeah,
not used to
it's-
it.